Good morning, good afternoon, good night, or whatever time of day it is for you. Today I'm going to be talking about physical appearance. When I was about 16 and a half years old, I remember walking into a nail salon with my mom because I was going to wait for her to get her nails done. I was just sitting there, and then the employee who was doing her nails turned to me and said something like, "How old are you?" And I told her, I said, I'm 16, going to be 17 in a little while. And she just gives me this perplexed look, like, what? And I'm just like, yeah. And she says, 17? Almost? Or 16? I don't really remember. You look like you would be 11. Upon hearing this, I was slightly upset, because as someone who is like not too far off from being an adult, wants to hear that they look like a young child, And I can understand how this may be a benefit for people who are older, and may want to look a bit younger. Probably you look like a teenager maybe as a compliment, or you look like, I don't know, you're younger than 30 possibly as a compliment. But 11? I don't even know if a fully grown adult who wants to look younger would want to look like they're 11. And so then that was not the only time that I've heard this. I've heard it from other people throughout my life. And I've even asked many people that I know, how old do I look? They've told me that I look a lot younger than I actually am. And as a college student, I don't know. It always sort of weirds me out, I guess, because it's like, if I look this young, people sort of treat you differently. That's the thing. I talked about previously in my last video about how I feel that a lot of young people are underestimated, And so when I say I kind of took offense to people saying that I look like a little kid, that doesn't mean I have anything against kids, obviously. I still think, kids are very smart and, they're very capable. But the inside of my mind is kind of like, I want to be seen as my age, I don't like people misreading me, especially when I'm in situations where I need to show my ID, because I need to get into something, I just know when I turn 21, which will be in like 3 or so years, that they're going to be asking me for my ID, like, nonstop. Like, there's no way around it. I was trying to buy a Switchblade when I was 16. The man did not believe that I was 16 when I told him, because you have to be 16 apparently to have, a blade. So I ended up having to show him my driver's permit that I had at the time. And he looked astonished when I showed it to him. The biggest question, I would always ask is, why do people think I look young, it's probably just mainly this one reason. Because maybe my face looks young, but I don't really think it looks that young. And I feel like for the people who can tell that I'm older, it's usually because I turn around and they see my face. I don't think it's my voice, but it could be my voice in some situations. It depends on how I choose to pitch it on a certain given day. But what I really think is what people think I'm young for is my height. Because I may not have like the face or the brain of an 11-year-old, but I do have the height of an 11-year-old. Not me when I was 11, because I was shorter when I was 11, but I do, to some people, who are a lot taller, look like a little kid. That was something I didn't even realize really until I had gotten to high school, and I realized that a lot of people were towering over me already. In middle school and before that, I just didn't notice that, because everyone's kind of in that growing stage. They're not really, looking at it or talking about it very much, I think, at least in my experience. So once I got to high school, I realized for the first time that I was short. It's only been difficult, for the most part, because of other people. I don't think I mind too much that sometimes I can't reach things, and sometimes I feel stumpy, I guess, and a lot of clothes don't fit me. I can get past all that. But the part that hurts the most is other people's comments that have been given to me over the years. Multiple people I've dated especially were tall, and so then they would always make little jokes about it, just little things here and there, like, you're so tiny, stuff like that. And then other people would call me like cute, not in the way I would want it to be said to me. Cute in kind of a demeaning way, I guess. And I found it really irritating because it felt like I was being infantilized when there are certain situations where you just need to take people seriously instead of treating them like a joke, I guess. And I've really struggled with that. It made me pretty insecure, and so my height was one thing that I had been obsessing about for a while, and it was hard to come to terms with the fact that I'm going to be like this forever. I'm way past, like, development. Like, I'm past puberty. My growth plates have fused, so I'm not going to grow any taller, and so all I really need to work on is making sure that one part about me is something that I'm not too upset about, because I can't change it. And I also don't really understand why other people treat it as if it's something I can change. Because when they start speaking about it as if it's something to be ashamed of, that's stupid, because you realize I can't do anything about it. It's not like I'm not working enough to be taller. That's not how life works, so it's kind of pointless to make fun of someone for something they can't control. I mean, my mom is shorter than me. My dad is not that tall either, but my mom especially is only like 5 feet tall, I think. And a lot of my family is pretty short, honestly. A lot of my aunts are like the same height as me. I'm I'm 5'2", which is not only shorter than the average height for men, but also shorter than the average height for women. And now I'm just talking about in America. This could be different in other countries, but I'm pretty sure the average height for women is 5'4", and maybe the average height for men is like 5'8" or something like that. And I'm shorter than both of those. And I have met other people that are shorter than me, and they're no different than any other person. I will say there's another thing that makes it even more difficult for me. And this is also a bone I have to pick with some people who say, well, if you're a short girl, then it's not a problem. But if you're a short guy, it is a problem. Because people will make the argument, oh, if you're a short girl, like nobody's gonna say anything about that because that's just normal, for girls to be shorter, and men think that's cute or whatever. Even when I identified as female, they still made fun of me for it. And some women don't want to be called cute and be infantilized, So why you say, I mean, yeah, maybe they're not bullied maybe as much as men are for being shorter, but that's not to say they can't be upset about it, they can't, have their own issues with it. Plus, it can be inconvenient in some circumstances, you're trying to reach something and you can't, or your clothes don't fit you and you have to buy kids' clothes. It can be sort of an ailment for some people. I guess guys have it harder. And so, yeah, ever since I realized that I'm trans and that I'm a guy, basically, that did make it a lot more of an insecurity for me, because society really, I think, does look down, no pun intended, on men who are shorter. I don't really know why, and I think I spend a little bit too much time in Reddit forums. I need to get out of there because there are too many people that are just very negative, and they're always comparing and, saying, oh, you're this height? Oh, you're just coping if you're saying there's anything good about that, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Like it's something that anyone has, control over. I know there are some ways possibly that people can control their height in the slightest, like having a better diet, for example. But most of it, the majority of it, comes down to genetics. I was bound to be the height that I am. I mean, my mom, is very short, and my dad is not that tall either, so of course I'm going to be short, Not to mention the fact that I'm assigned female at birth. So that makes another aspect where women are usually shorter than men. But yeah, being trans makes it more difficult because I've heard so many people say they would never date a guy who's that short, or that short men are ugly, or you have to have such a good personality for someone to be able to date you because you're that short. And I'm just like, you know what though? People have still dated me, so I don't think it might just be the internet, to be honest. It might just be the internet that I'm spending too much time on, where people have this entitlement, I guess, to just straight up call other people ugly and stuff like that just because of their height. But at the end of the day, I think I'm not gonna get a leg lengthening surgery because, first of all, that's a lot of money. And also, what a painful recovery could possibly damage me for life, right? Why would I even bother? Also, why would I bother to fix something about myself that I shouldn't have to, just to conform to society's weird little standards or whatever. By the way, I hate when people say anyone over 5'7" is short. What are you on? Like, what do you mean? I don't know. I don't understand that, honestly. I think if you're over 5'7", then you are not short. So stop. Like, come on, dude. If you're short like me, you should embrace that, okay? Doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, whoever, does not matter. If you're short, embrace it, just power through. And I understand it feels like sometimes maybe society isn't built for us, especially not in the Netherlands, but you're still attractive, I'm sure, like, height really shouldn't mean a damn thing. It really shouldn't, and I don't know why so many people care so much about it. I would rather date someone shorter because, they could be on my level instead of, like, towering over me. Although, obviously, not a requirement. And just because you're shorter, that does not mean that you are automatically weaker either. I like working out. I run all the time. I do weights sometimes. I don't know. But here's a fun story real quick. There was a girl who was in my track team in high school and cross country. She was nearly the fastest person on the entire team. I kid you not. Extremely impressive. And yet, she was shorter than even me. She was like 4'11". And she was just like a speed demon, dude. It was insane. So, do not underestimate us. Like, seriously. Also, on a similar note, you cannot say just because you have longer legs, you walk faster. That's not true either, I swear to God. Well, if it is, then the tall people do not use their legs. Because whenever I am trying to get somewhere, it's like hell just trying to get past the slow people in front of me. Like, I am speeding at like 100 miles per hour, dude. I am the speed walker of the freaking country. I swear to God. I don't know where that comes from. I really don't. But it comes from something in my mind, subconsciously, I think. Because I am just like miles ahead of everyone. They could be 6 feet tall and they're walking like slower than turtles in front of me, dude. So, can't say that either, I'm just saying. Can say this video is cope too, I guess. I don't know. I've heard people say that a lot. So what if it is? It's not cope, actually. It's called embracing, and it's called looking at the positives in life instead of bringing people down for what they look like, which is not even bad. Their looks are not even bad. You just, maybe in your tall opinion they are, I don't know. But, short kings, queens, and other royals, just rise up. And also, if you're 5'2" as well, definitely leave that in the comments, and I will definitely reply to you and say you're awesome or something like that. I don't know. Subscribe or else you'll turn into a block of cheese. I don't know.